Okay, it is 6:30. We will call the meeting to order. Approval of prior meeting minutes. Well, I sent them out today, so I would not be surprised if others, in addition to Daryl, were busy today and did not have a chance to review. So we could defer the vote to the next meeting, if everybody would prefer.
I read through them, so I'm fine.
Okay.
I mean, if you know, it can get passed, that's fine with me.
I'd like you to have a chance to review them.
Okay.
So, to make sure I quoted you correctly.
Okay. Now I do understand.
Yes.
I was burning all day today, so I never got to look at my phone, look at my computer, so I didn't know that they came in.
They were the minutes for the last two meetings.
Right. Okay.
I will try to be more timely with the minutes of this particular meeting so that you have a chance to review it. And we'll do it all at the next meeting. This is also the point I should probably remind you that tonight's meeting is being streamed at sandwichtv.org and broadcast on local channel 9. Hello to the folks at home. The meeting will be available on their YouTube channel and their website tomorrow or shortly thereafter. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to our ongoing business. The Service Road Shared Use Path updates. Sam, I'm interested in any updates that you have, but I made a particular point of putting on the agenda a discussion item for the signal at Quaker because of the feedback we got by email from the Cape Cod Commission. I have since ridden the path and ridden through that intersection twice, not in the direction that they commented on, which I'll summarize in a minute. I was riding from east to west, so I was able to experience cars turning right when I activated the signal. The feedback we got from the Cape Cod Commission, I think it was from David Nolan or
Colleen Medeiros.
Right, but she was paraphrasing or summarizing feedback that she got from one of her colleagues. That when they were standing there and activating the signal, the people that were coming from west to east, so from, say, Spalding towards Sandwich Hollows, people were taking a left turn because they can't really see the signal and they didn't realize it had been activated. And there was some concern that that could be an ongoing problem. I rode it in the other direction, 2 different occasions. One time I activated the signal, there was somebody to my left trying to make a right turn. Thankfully, they did see me, but most people, when you're making that right turn, you're looking left. You're supposed to look right, but not everybody does. And there's nothing when you're sitting at the stop line for you to be able to see that the signal's been activated, other than maybe if you notice that there was the crossing signal was activated for the person trying to cross. So I summarize all that to let the committee know that we received that feedback, and then I personally observed it as well. And Sam, I know there's been some back and forth with VHB about that topic in particular. I was wondering if you could summarize that part of it and if there's been any progress since those emails were exchanged.
Sure, yeah, and I would just add to that drivers on Service Road have stop control. And so if drivers are on Service Road and there's a pedestrian in the crosswalk, by law, they have to yield right away to the pedestrian, regardless of signals or anything like that. That's the condition. When we received that email, we forwarded it to VHB, who is ultimately the engineer of record responsible for the design. They prepared the pedestrian hybrid beacon design as part of the plan set, and as of this time, I have not heard back on that. The path is technically still under construction, in the construction phase. It hasn't been officially opened. I understand there is quite a bit of use on it, but at this time it's still in construction, or at least under the control of MassDOT and the contractor. MassDOT was copied on that as well, and have not yet heard back. Okay. That's the status. We want it to be as safe as we can make it. Mm-hmm. Safety is ultimately up to the decisions of the people operating on it, both the pedestrians and the drivers. But we want to do everything we can to encourage the safest environment as possible. So we need to hear back from VHB and MassDOT on that. There'll be further discussion.
Okay. I recognize that everything you said about it being still under construction. I want to talk about that in a minute. And there's a newness factor to it, if I can even use that as a word. So we, as users of the crossing, are new to it, that particular crossing. The motorists are new to experiencing that crossing. And so there's probably a burn-in period, if you will, for everybody to get used to the activity that's going on out there. But all that said, I want to make sure that though there is a stop condition, and we recognize that, that we do as much as we can to alert the motorists that there's going to be usage if you're going to the west, that there's going to be users on the right, and same for the drivers coming the other way. And there's no signage other than the stop sign. Stop sign is great, but I would think that we should probably do something to alert them to the fact that there's other use going around. And I don't know what's been done at there's other similar crossings across the Cape. And that's the one thing that I'd like to go out and sort of observe and see if we can learn from what other towns have done with this experience.
Is it permissible to add an additional sign to a stop sign, or can it be the only thing on the post?
Not on that post, no.
Because the problem is when you add additional
signs,
signs, it tends to cause a little bit of confusion. People don't necessarily read it. They see the stop sign and they move it around.
Yeah, that's one of the hard and fast rules of the code as far as traffic sign goes.
Is there a pedestrian crossing ahead sign there? I didn't notice it today.
There was not one in the direction I was riding.
Yeah, I wasn't looking for it, but I didn't notice it.
Same.
We don't typically put those in, then they're discouraged at an intersection like that with stop control because it's an expected condition. That's the guidance anyway. But again, it's being evaluated. This is expected to be a high-use facility, so there may be some special circumstances there. So I wouldn't rule out anything at this point.
So, Sean, you're saying the issue is mostly the service road traffic? And
Yes.
maybe you might turn
Sure.
if you're heading west.
If you're on Quaker, it's obvious there's a stop
Yeah,
signal
okay.
there. And when you activate it, the cars do stop.
Yep.
So that I'm not concerned about. It's just the traffic on Service Road.
And I think to that, it's also the distance for the stop bar that requires vehicles that are on Quaker Meetinghouse Road heading towards Route 6. The stop bar is well in advance, and so it leaves a clear area out in the middle of the intersection with Quaker Meetinghouse Road and Service Road. I think that's part of it. And so for drivers that are perhaps stopped on Service Road, they recognize that there's a gap in traffic and vehicles have stopped. And so.
Because that's what they're used to looking for.
Right.
Right. So there's what appears to me to be a pretty prominent crosswalk. However, that may not be forefront of their mind.
Yeah, to me, it's hard to miss, but I'm kind of finely tuned to it.
Yeah.
Of course, people will stop. All the more important for users to make sure that they're visible, too. Right. And that's just ordinary practice as well. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that the committee was aware of that discussion. Do you have any updates on the punch list items that we discussed at the last meeting?
No, I have not heard anything on that. There's been some talk about a potential ribbon cutting at some point, but I don't even have a tentative date. So I'll share specifics when I hear it, but I have not heard anything.
Looks like grass seed's been sprayed everywhere. That's my one
Yeah,
observation.
so.
Sure.
The grass seed is great. I was out there today. I do notice that people do U-turns and they ride right on the grass seed. We could put some go down to Home Depot and get some posts, tap them into the ground so to maybe encourage people not to do U-turns over the dirt. I don't know, just one way of not having to do that 12 times instead of 6 times.
Right.
I mean, it just seems like a reasonable thing to try to prevent cars from driving on that while it's growing. I don't know, just an idea, because there are sections where it's like, it has been run over a lot of times. Just any trip down there.
You can maybe express that feedback to Paul.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, so nothing on ribbon cutting, you said?
I don't have any information this time.
Any updates on the design of the connection between Service Road and the canal?
Nothing new at this point.
Okay. Oops. Found the wrong place.
Just continuing on with what we've been talking about the last few meetings.
Any updates on grant applications for the
And
various
yes,
crossings?
I'm a little puzzled by the length of time that's passed since our applications, but I've not received any information myself. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the holdup is. The free RFB program did have a little bit of a complexity to it, in that MassDOT was looking for speed data, and they wanted to review the speed data as part of the application process. So it's a little more of an involved review on their end. So that may have something to do with a lengthy review time. There may be funding contingencies in there as well.
Okay. Any updates on the bike racks for 100 Route 6A or the Center for Active Living?
Bike racks have been installed at Center for Active Living.
Nice. I'll have to take a look at those.
Yeah. And there's been discussion about the bike racks on 100 Route 6A. It's a matter of getting approval for locations.
Who are the approvals needed from?
There has been some discussion with the facilities manager and assistant town manager, from what I understand.
Okay. Well, the Center for Active Living is just in time for summer. That's good news. Okay, any new business from anybody? This could be a very short meeting, Charlie. You won't have to leave early at all.
Sounds like a plan.
I made an error in the agenda and said that the next meeting was tonight, because of course, as you might have guessed, I copied it from the previous agenda. So the actual next meeting is May 19th, Monday before Memorial Day. Everybody good with that?
And I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.